They stuck like glue. Fuck you, talk. Bitch! Bitch! Oh, they shoot me! They shoot at my car! They not. They shoot at that boy. Boy, why you got these folks over here with your good dumb ass? In that glass thing! What they was shooting at? Girl, I know that night, mom. Could put carbs line. Hold up, mom. Bitch, they coming back. Hold on. They coming back. What's that white pepper in it? No, girl, that's a red charge. Ooh, there they go. They coming back. What is it? Girl, I don't know. They right here, though, from the house. My son, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my son. I'm sorry.
All praises and glory to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai Ba'asham Ha-Rakah Quadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders which rule Great Millstone Well. And Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure into the end. Shalom Wa Abba Babal. Alright, that video on this app, World Hip Hop, World Star. It says, let off the clip. Dude pulled up and shoots at his girlfriend sitting inside her car on Instagram live while with their daughter for talking crazy about him. And these women, especially the Jake women, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian women, they have no clue what's about to hit them. All right? And they're going to be very sorry, just like you saw that woman at the end of the video. She was pretty much apologizing. But by then it was too late. All right? It says that in the scriptures that the Lord is going to bring these women into a very desolate state. Let me get it. Second Ezra 16, verse 30. It says in verse 33, the virgins shall mourn having no bridegrooms, the women shall mourn having no husbands, their daughters shall mourn having no helpers. In the wars which we're about to go into many wars. You're about to have a world war. You're about to have civil war. You're about to have a race war. There's about to be a war in heaven. All right. Even Biden was reported calling himself a wartime president. All right. So we're not in a time of peace. We're in a time of war. All right. But you got these women deceived by the devil. The so-called white man is the devil, and he's deceived the Jake women into believing that they're in heaven because they could make some money. They could have a place. They could screw as many guys as they want. Right? They could disrespect a man and think nothing will happen. But the Lord is going to bring great judgment upon these women. All right? Because they've been deceived just like Eve by the serpent. The serpent in the garden that is east of Eden. All right? That serpent was the so-called white man back then, but he had color. All right? It says in verse 34, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed. Why? How are they going to be taken away? Through draft. All right? You know there's talk about draft, about Biden issuing the draft, taking away the men, even the women, and sending them off to war against Russia. It says, having no husbands. I read verse 33. Verse 34, in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine, leaving the woman alone and vulnerable. Which it tells you in Zechariah 14. In fact, I'll go to 13 and read to 14. It says, in Zechariah 13, verse 8, and it shall come to pass, so this is prophecy of America, that in all the land, saith Yahweh, two parts, so 2/3 of the nation of Israel in America, whether they know it or not, that they're Israelite or they know it or not, therein shall be cut off and die. So they're going to be cut there. It's already sealed in their fate. It's in the script that these 2/3, they're going to die. All right. It says, but the third shall be left therein, but 1/3 shall be left, and they're going to be attached to the hopeful elect men. All right. It says, and I will bring the third part through the fire, because they're going to be attached to the elect men, and will refine them as silver is refined. And they're going to go through a changing, because it's going to be a time like no other, Jacob's trouble, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, the elect men are the ones with the name, and I will hear them, so he will hear his elect men. And I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my power. And Yahweh is going to hear his elect men. And these women are going to cleave on to those elect men, Isaiah 4:1, that are ordained to be saved. Isaiah 4:1, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. All right. And there's different versions of this. And, they got these different versions of the Holy Scriptures where they write it in a modern English. And the translations that they have is pretty much because they're not married. All right. Because marriage is a custom of the Hebrew Israelites. And marriage is sex. So you have these so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American Indian women out here having all kinds of bodies, all right, being married to all kinds of different men, causing disease, right? They're going to be put to death, destroying their sons, because these women that raise the sons all by themselves, they raise monsters. So them and them little bastards have to die. That's why 2/3 are going to die, right? It says in Ezekiel 9 verse 4. And Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And there be, and it says, and to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite, pretty much kill. Let not your eye spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women. All right, and that woman, she could have been put to death, the whole house. They could have stopped, got out the car, went in the house, and just shot everybody in the house, including the baby. And that's where it's going to come down to. It's going to get more violent. That might not have happened in that situation, but it's only going to get worse from here on out. It says that the bodies are going to be, laid out in the streets like piles of shit. All right. It says, verse 6, slay utterly old, which you have these old women, old men, but it's dealing with the women in this one, all right? It says old and young, both maids and little children and women, all right? So old Old men too. They're going to be put to death that ain't in the truth, that are of the Israelite nation. They're going to be put to death. The women, because if you ain't in this truth, then you're pretty much being controlled by a woman. You love the system that Esau has, the metropolitan, which goes back to being a woman, you know. And all them that worship the image of the beast is pretty much going to be destroyed just as much as the one that takes the mark of the beast, the implantable microchip. All right. But now this is dealing with women, you know, that I'm on this scripture because of that video. Through the Holy Spirit, we have to warn our people so that the elect may hear and be sealed and believe on Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai. It says, once again, verse 4, and Yahweh said unto him, verse 6, slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women. All right. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark. All right. So once again, you got the 2/3 that are men that are going to die. But you have 1/3 that are going to be kept alive. But it starts with the elect men, the 144,000. Those are the men that have the name. They have the oil. They've been sealed as the elect. All right. Those are the ones that the Lord's going to have these women in Isaiah 4:1 cleave to. All right. It says, and begin at my sanctuary. So start at the house of Israel. You got a lot of women knowing that they're Israelites. You know, you can look up on any social media where you got Jake women trying to own up to being an Israelite woman, or they're even in false religions like Islam or even Christianity, acting like they're some valuable ruby, but in fact they're trash. So the Lord's gonna put them to death, and even their husbands could be used as a sword against them. It says in Spirits of Vengeance. All right. There's certain. It's right here in Ecclesiasticus 39 verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. So that man, shooting at that woman pleased Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. That's what that man was created for. See? And really, he's joined himself to the heathen customs. He's really nothing right now, even though he, is probably a Jake. That woman looked to be a Jake, right? But they're attached to the heathen's customs. So they're going to die a horrible death, but be reincarnated back through the elect. See? But the Lord's created spirits of vengeance. On earth, there's even teeth of wild beasts ready to go. Getting ready to go. Even all the way up to the Leviathan. There's going to be terrible, terrible things that come upon this place. And it's going to be for Jacob, because he, Israel, them that are of that 2/3, they set themselves against the Lord, being allies with Esau. Let me go back to that Zechariah 14, verse 2. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the woman ravished. So the Jake women, they're going to be destroyed by these soldiers that Esau's going to allow to invade, which they're, guaranteed they're already here. You got a lot of foreigners like Russians and Chinese here that already set up police stations and everything. They're already here, ready to go. But there's going to come a day where Esau is allowed to unleash these soldiers, and they're going to terrorize the citizens. You know, they made movies about this. Red Dawn is one of them. All right? And they're going to, the politicians are in on it. In that movie they showed you, the politician was right there with the Russian, working right side by side with him. Because it's all a drama what they show you on TV. And in the back of the smoke screen, they're actually together, Confederate, trying to, manipulate reality. And what they're fighting over is who has the Israelites. Because the Israelites have the power. All right? That's why we were able to build Egypt into golden cities. That's why America became such a great country, is because the Israelites were here. So these, they're all in a new world order, but there's chaos between them because they want to all rule. And Esau will kill each other for power. And the Lord's going to put it in their heart to shoot nukes on America. All right? But it's only going to end with Israel ruling no matter what, because the elect are going to be saved and set up by Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Nothing's going to be left to any other people. All right? Zechariah 14 verse 12, it says, "And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongues shall consume away in their mouth." So after he gathers his elect into the chariot, the so-called UFO, all right, he's going to have this place nuked in an instant. It's all going to be done in a blink of an eye. All right? And it's not, it's really been a buildup over many, many years to this point, but we're pretty much getting to that point of the end of the so-called white man, and his kingdom, America, is going to end in nuclear destruction. All right? And the hopeful elect of Israel, all right, the Lord's elect, he's going to gather his elect, as it says in Matthew 24, verse 31, "And he shall send his angels," which Yahushua is prophesying of himself, "and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." All right? It says, "Now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and putteth forth leaves, ye know that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled." Which we're hoping this is the year 2023 that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai fulfill all the prophecies, so that we could come out of this captivity and go back to the promised land in new bodies and start this all over again to do it right, because that's what's going to happen. This time we come out of Israel, we're going to come out in righteousness. We're not going to come out of Israel in slavery, in chains, all right? We'll never go into slavery again. But when we go from, we're going to be keeping the laws. We're going to go from this wicked state into a righteous state, perfect for eternity. We'll never die. The heathen will die, but the elect and the rest of Israel will not die. Israel will not die no more. That would be the last enemy destroyed after Yahweh's return, because he's going to change us. With that, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Ba'asham, Yahushai, Ba'asham Ha, Rekha Kodash, double honors unto our apostles and elders which rule great millstone wow, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure into the end. Shalom wa ba ba ba.